Got the motor installed today, motor and trans. Had a friend come by and help. We didn't get it on video, but it's in there. It's not completely bolted up yet. Got one bolt in each motor mount and a couple bolts in the transmission mount, but it is in there. I'll have more video about it later and talk about a little bit more stuff that I have planned. But as you can see, the motor and transmission is in there. It dropped the front down quite a bit from where it was at. You can almost see a couple people made comments about not having room. I had to widen the tunnel on each side, but nothing on the height wise. It's probably a good 8 to 10 inches maybe from it's about 5.5 inches down on the back side of the transmission. So there's 5.5 inches in there, and then you can see a little bit of the rear yoke, and then you can basically both the twin sticks are there, so everything's there. That one is so hard to operate. I have to play with that one with the seal that's in it. Basically, like I said, as you can see, it is in there. It should be in there. Shouldn't have to take it back out. Had a couple questions. The oil pan, it was clearance to not hit the panhard bar, but when we kind of push it up and down, it touches it. I have room with the coils to go down basically if I wanted to put more tension on it, which would actually lift it up, because it has quite a bit in the shock itself still. So I can actually put pretty much a heavier spring in it to lift it up if it comes down to it. But if not, I was thinking about maybe taking the pan off and re-clearance it a little bit more. But I have the oil fitting. We welded the AN fittings on, so I gotta get this on and tight. Oil filter basically is gonna mount right here and hangs down. So I gotta figure something out, because this I might go 90 over and in, or 45, 90 into a 45. I just have to see, because it literally, I know it's hard to see on here, but it mounts down here, so the fittings will be up here. So I may have to just see what clearance I have. So it may be a little bit tighter than I was expecting, or I will basically come from here, 90 it, come around, come back, and 90 into each side. So I'll just have to figure that one out. But for right now, it's in there. Got a banjo bolt on the backside that feeds the turbo. I don't have the right one. I ordered it from Volkswagen. It's supposed to be here this week, so I'm hoping to get that, and then I'll end up probably taking this stuff off or bend this over or something. I don't know if I need it there or not, but at least now I can get all my measurements I need for all the wiring. So I gotta figure out, I think I'm gonna put the computer pretty much right here inside the cab of the truck. So I just have to measure it and then send everything out to Fast Forward, so I can get that done. And then I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do mounting that pump I have, the electric water pump. So I just gotta figure that out. So that's what I gotta do. That's what I'm gonna get done. Try and get it figured out. So, but for right now, just a quick peek. You can kind of see it in there. It's got quite a bit of room to the front. The rear is almost at the back. Motor's down quite a bit. So I think it's a little bit lower, maybe a little bit, if not, because we made custom mounts to go. So it might be a little bit lower, but I still have to figure out. I have the TV cable here. I gotta figure out somehow to get it inside to operate off the pedal. And then I gotta figure out the exhaust. So it might come out and go down over this way and down and go underneath the truck that way. So it's away from the transmission. I thought about trying to make it go through the tunnel and down, but it'd be real close to the shift cable as well as the transmission line. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do there yet. So I have to figure that one out. But for right now, like I said, everything's on there. Turbo's bolted on. It's tight. I put a gasket in here, which I think I showed on one of the videos. Volkswagen says there's no gasket. I don't like the thick gasket that's in there, and it didn't fit, in my opinion, very good. So if I have to take it off, I can still take it off, pull this out enough, just pull the gasket out and basically bolt it back up. And then I don't have to worry about it. I still have to put the intake manifold on and basically figure out how I'm gonna do it. I cut the top off, but I don't know if I'm just gonna go make something from here and go into it. I would want to do a log style and then maybe come back and around, but I can't do that because the AC compressor sits right in here. So it's pretty tight. So I'm gonna try and get all this stuff on. I want to get everything in here and then start working on getting what stuff I want to do with the radiator for the water pump and get that going. I don't think there's too much else that has to go on here. The radiator and fan and everything's all one unit, just slides in there, so it should be pretty easy. But like I said, I'm going to take this off. I think I'm going to make a plate to go around the whole thing and then use my electric water pump and then not have a belt here at all. So I won't have an outside belt. I'll only have one belt. The one belt feeds, I believe it feeds the AC, alternator, and crank. But I'm gonna have to double check that because I know that the way that it was, there's two tensioners, but I don't know if it's one tensioner from this or if one fed to, it might have done the AC off of this and then the other one. So I'll have to do some research back on some pictures and make sure, and then kind of determine what I'm going to do. So even if I do that one, I may leave it on there if I have to leave the pulley on, and then just cut the blades off the inside so it basically won't move any water. I'll let the electric water pump move the water as needed. And then this is the setup, so it goes on the frame rail pretty much like this. So it comes out of the motor right here, so it's basically got to come out and go into here for the oil. This I can turn and go either direction, but these are for the water, so all the water will have AN fittings. And I'm debating whether I want to do push lock. I know some of the push lock, they just don't look that great in my opinion because it has that little yellow sleeve that stops it, and I don't know if I want to do that or not. So I may end up just doing a real light flexible AN, but at least where it'll have flex. So I had to do that. I have the front cover here. I have the bottom lower cover I got to put on as well. So that'll be stuff I'll be working on this next week. But like I said, at least a little bit of what it looks like, and then we'll have a video of all of it later.